Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion Nedarim Daf Nun Ted number 59. The Gemara on Nun Ted and Aleph makes a distinction between Truma and Konamos by Nedarim. Right? We have a famous Mishnah we had earlier on. If you say Konam Peiros Elu, or even if you say Shani Ochav Shani Toim, if you say the Gedulin are asurim v'davar she'ein zarakala. If you replant a bulb of an onion and it continues growing, and then you replant it a second time or a third time, it doesn't make a difference. Even though the gedulim are mutter, right? They're growths that are new growths. Nonetheless, they are all aser. They retain an iser, and we don't say bittul barov. We don't invoke bittul barov over there. So why not? Why don't we invoke bittul barov? So the answer the Gemara says the Nedarim are different. Nedarim are different because it's davar sheish matirin. You can be matir Nedarim by going to Chacham and matir your neder. So the Gemara says Truma also, right? Truma, there is bittul, and it's also davar sheish matirin. You can be shoel on your Truma. So the Gemara says Truma, it's not likely to be shoel on your Truma because you're not helping yourself. Nedarim, it's a mitzvah to be shoel on your neder. You're not supposed to take Nedarim on yourself. Even if you take a neder, you're supposed to be matir the neder because it's like you're Boneh bama when you take the neder, and you're makayim when you're makayim the neder. It's like you're maktir, you're makar on the mizbeach bachutz outside the base of mikdash. It's a very bad thing. So therefore, it's considered darash shematirin because you're supposed to be matir your neder. Now, there's a famous machlokas in Rashi and the Ran. What is the svara of the Rosh material? What is the Rosh material? How does it work? Why is the Rosh material? We don't say I feel be'elef lo batal, even 1,000, 1 in 1,000, even by Darabanan, the Gemara isn't based on Daf Dalet. By Muksa, which is Darabanan, according to a lot of opinions, we say I feel be'elef lo batal. So Rashi, based on Daf Dalet, this is a very big idea. He says very svara, a simple svara. Tomorrow is going to be mutter. Tomorrow is not going to be muksa. Since tomorrow is not going to be muksa, so just wait a day, right? Be patient. And don't use bittul barov when you don't have to, right? Wait till tomorrow. Don't use bittul barov. Even if you have elef, don't use bittul barov. Wait till Sunday. It's not muksa, and everything's mutter. So is that the same thing over here by Nedarim? The Gemara is going back and forth whether the Nedarim is davar sheish matir and davar she'ein lo matir. It seems to me that the maskana of the Gemara over here that calls Nedarim a davar sheish matir, right? It's not exactly the same thing as muksa, because muksa, once Shabbos is over, muksa doesn't apply anymore, right? Over here, if he doesn't do anything, right, he took a neder, if he does not matir the neder, he has to actually go to a chacham and matir the neder. Yes, there's a mitzvah, it's a good idea, maybe even a chiyuv to go matir the neder, but until he does that, it's still going to be aser, so we should invoke bittul barov. So therefore, I'd like to suggest that Rashi and Ran are not in a machlokas. They're talking about two different times we say davar sheish matirin. There's two levels of the davar sheish matirin. There's davar sheish matirin of a svara midoraisa, which maybe even is a birur or a clarification according to the Torah that I feel be'elef lo batil 90%, right? There's two types of rov. There's a ruba de isakaman and ruba de leisakaman. Ruba de isakaman means that the rov, there's 9 pieces, 9 chanuyos that sell kosher meat, and 1 chanus that sells treif meat. You can identify, it's 9-to-1 ratio. Ruba de leisakam, I'm talking about percentages in the world. Rov nashim in the world, basulos nisos. They get married as basulos. Most nashim, right, when they get pregnant, right, they have children after a full pregnancy, full gestation period, and not after 7 months. So that's a ruba de leisakam, which is a generalization in the population. We're not taking statistics over here. Generalization, I mentioned it many times, that's 80% proof. So the Ran says a different shot in davar sheish matirin. The reason davar sheish matirin, I feel elef lo batil, it's a complicated svara. It's really, right, let's apply it to the case of muksa. By muksa, since tomorrow on Sunday it's going to be mutter, so therefore, even though right now on Shabbos is aser, muksa is aser, so it should be batil, barov, right? Muksa is rabbanan. There's no reason it shouldn't be batil, barov. Nonetheless, because it's karov, it's close. He says, Ran says this on Daf Nun Beis. He says, here in Mesechus Nedarim, since it's karov, the heter, tomorrow, just wait a day. So therefore, in a certain sense, right, you have rov, which is mutter, and then you have the mukta, which is aser. So therefore, it's almost like min b'mino. It's almost like mutter v'mutter, because tomorrow is going to be mutter. So min b'mino normally is not batal. Normally, when you're mavatel, it's easier to mavatel min b'she'eno. Min b'she'eno mino a lot of times is batal. Barov or min b'she'eno mino is batal. Um, Echad b'shishim. Min b'mino is harder than mavatel. So that's what he's saying. Since it's almost mutter, so therefore it's considered to be. We're not going to rely, right? We're not going to rely on bittul over here, right? Because at the end of the day, the Ran agrees. Right now, today, it's aser. So really, it's min b'she'eno mino. It should be batel. So according to the Ran is saying that davar sheish matirin. There's another type of davar sheish matirin. I don't think he disagrees on Rashi, right? When it's going to be mutter tomorrow, right? So davar sheish matirin is a svara midoraisa, right? Davar sheish matirin is going to be mutter tomorrow. Shalchana be'isr, dachlana be'heter, right? It's for sure. Vada going to be mutter tomorrow. So just be patient a little bit. So therefore, the Torah's birur doesn't work. However, according to the Ran, really right now, it's aser, min b'she'eno mino, should be batel. But treat it, right? It's like I mentioned before, a lot of times the concept of bittul barov is our ability to use bittul barov, right? That we're to invoke the din of bittul barov. He says, don't invoke it. Really, it is batal barov today, but don't invoke it. That's the davar sheish matirin. Don't invoke it because tomorrow is going to be mutter. And that's the same idea by Nedarim over here. By Nedarim over here, right? Technically, it's going to remain aser. I have to do something. I have to go to a chacham to be matir it. So again, according to the davar sheish matirin we're applying to Nedarim over here, is a different davar sheish matirin than muksa or other isurim. It's a davar sheish matirin of a hanhaga, of a practice, how the Torah is noheg, right? That we say don't invoke bittul barov. It's the Ran's pshat over here. By other isurim, davar sheish matirin, right, by muksa and things like that, where it's going to be mutter soon, or chadash or something like that, it's going to be mutter soon. So don't invoke it because it's for sure going to be mutter. But things which are totally in your ma'aseh, so then it's really an invocation. Are we invoking bittul barov? That's the Ran davar sheish matirin, which is a weaker davar sheish matirin, because principally it should be batal. But we say don't invoke bittul barov over here. And I think really that's the svara on Daf Nun Ten Amud Beis, where the Gemara makes a chiluk of hecha de katarach. If you go ahead and replant something, right, then it's batal barov. If you don't replant something, it's batal barov. So that's talking about shvius. Shvius also is very similar to Nedarim, because Shvius also, if I don't do anything, right, I just let the plant grow and it gets rove of its growth during the 7th year. So the Shvius, right, if I don't do anything, it's considered aser, right? It's considered aser, so it's considered davar sheish she'elo matirin. It's considered aser. I have to go ahead and do something, right? Either eat it in the proper fashion or mimavayir it hana b'shas biuro. So I have to do something like that. So shvius is exactly like that. It's a second level, right, of davar sheish. Really, it's davar she'elo matirin. However, davar sheish matirin under certain circumstances, you could do that. So therefore, again, you're willing to use bittul barov only if you katarach, if you do an action. Again, it's a question by shvius, just like by Nedarim, of whether we're invoking bittul barov, because in certain circumstances it remains aser. In certain circumstances you can change it to be matir. So therefore, the davar sheish matirin that we don't apply by shvius is only when you're not toreach. But if you toreach, then it is batal barov. We could invoke bittul barov. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. It's a little complicated, but I think it really makes a lot of sense. Rashi and the Ran don't argue in each other; they just apply differently. Rashi is a birur, the Ran is on haga, and they work in totally different ways.